was fun. Filming at Raffles.
I like spending time.
We just ended work. We are very happy.
Got free stuff.
I did not get free stuff because the
still buy
shirt
it.
sizes don't match.
No, it was a privilege also. Genuinely, I wanted a drink.
I didn't realize how cluttered I made my dining table, but yeah. I'm home. cannot. He's hearing her calling. Oh, enough of crossing roads. Is that what? It's like maybe where you used to stay. We drove here. We drove. I drive. No, the coffee.
Nothing here is cheap.
Okay. Macarons look good though.关掉了，关掉再开，等你再按。
那个时间呢，叔叔是不在。
时间。
哎，Celeste。
Cannot eat one.